Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. The story of the 2021 D Lincoln cent is far greater than this small round piece of metal might suggest, because while most people pass it through their hands every day without a second thought, those who truly understand coins see a deeper world of history, value, rarity, and symbolism in its design. Imagine holding in your palm a tiny coin weighing only 2.5 grams, a coin so light that a pocket full of them barely registers, yet this exact same type of coin has been tied to stories of immense wealth, collectors bidding millions, and even a record valuation rumored at $15 million. To most people, it is still just 1 cent, but to the numismatic community it represents a mystery, an opportunity, and a link to the long tradition of coins becoming treasures. The specifications of the 2021 D cent are familiar to anyone who has studied modern pennies. It weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and is composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating of 2.5%, giving it the bright reddish appearance of copper, even though the core is something very different. This shift in composition happened decades ago, in 1982, when the mint moved away from bronze because the rising price of copper meant that each penny was worth more in metal than its face value. Since then, pennies have been mostly zinc, and the 2021 D continues that tradition. The edge is plain, smooth without reading, and the finish varies depending on whether the coin was struck for circulation or for special sets. Looking closely at the obverse, one cannot miss the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed originally by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln faces to the right, his face filled with determination and quiet strength, the kind of portrait that has stood the test of time for well over a century. Above his head arcs the phrase, "I in God we trust," to the left stands the word liberty, and to the right the date 2021 accompanied by the mint mark D, denoting the Denver Mint. That tiny letter D is important, for it tells us where this coin was born, where the blank planchets were struck by high-pressure dies, and where billions of coins were pressed into existence in a matter of months. But among those billions, a few stand out as extraordinary, and those few are what have ignited the imagination of collectors across the globe. Turning to the reverse, the Union Shield takes center stage, a design introduced in 2010 and used on all cents ever since. The shield is bold and deeply symbolic, featuring 13 vertical stripes joined together under a single horizontal bar, representing the unity of the original states under one federal government. Across the face of the shield stretches a banner inscribed with the denomination 1 cent, while above the shield rests the motto E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. The symbolism here is clear, a united nation, strong and resilient, just as Lincoln himself had fought to preserve. The design connects back to the Civil War era and reinforces the reason why Lincoln is honored on the cent in the first place. To the average American, this is just another penny, something to drop into a vending machine or leave on a countertop tray. But to the numismatic world, this coin is far from ordinary. Billions may have been minted, but condition, rarity, and error make all the difference. The highest graded examples, those preserved in mint state with flawless surfaces, are the kinds of coins that collectors chase passionately. A perfect MS-70 2021 D cent certified by PSGS or NGC becomes more than just a coin. It becomes an object of desire, something that completes sets and satisfies the collector's pursuit of perfection. And then, there are error coins, the mistakes that slip past the mint's quality control. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, die clashes, cuts, misaligned dies, and other anomalies transform an ordinary penny into something unique, and uniqueness drives value. What has made the 2021 D cent particularly fascinating is the report that one specific specimen, believed to be linked to a dramatic minting anomaly and graded at the absolute highest level, exchanged hands at a staggering $15 million. Whether sold through private transaction or auction, the effect of this story was electric. Collectors began combing through their pocket change and coin rolls, searching for that one magical penny that might transform them into millionaires overnight. News outlets and blogs picked up the story, fueling even more interest. The very idea that a coin with a face value of 1 cent could be worth more than mansions, yachts, or sports cars is almost unbelievable. Yet it is precisely this blend of rarity, history, and collector passion that makes numismatics so compelling. But to really appreciate why this coin is so special, we need to step back and look at the larger story of the Lincoln cent itself. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. Victor David Brenner's design, featuring Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, was an instant success. Americans embraced it, not only because of Lincoln's towering legacy, but also because the design was beautiful, detailed, and symbolic. Over the decades, the cent has undergone design changes, from the wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial introduced in 1959, and then to the current Union Shield in 2010. Yet through all of these changes, Lincoln's face has remained. Collectors prize certain dates and mint marks, such as the 1909 SVDB, the 1914 D, the 1922 No D, the 1955 Double Die, and the 1943 copper cents. These legendary coins fetch thousands or millions at auction, and they fuel the hope that modern coins, like the 2021 D, could one day join that Hall of Fame. The parallels are clear. A common coin that becomes a rarity through error, circumstance, or condition can leap from pocket change to priceless artifact. That is the dream that drives collectors to examine every cent under magnification, to hunt through rolls from banks, to attend coin shows and auctions, always in search of the next miracle discovery. The Denver Mint, where the 2021 D cents were struck, has a long history dating back to the gold rush days of Colorado. Established in 1906, it has been producing coins for over a century, and today it remains one of the busiest facilities of the U.S. Mint, turning out billions of coins annually. Its mint mark D has appeared on countless coins that now live in collections, albums, and museums. Yet, as history shows, even in the most modern high-speed presses, mistakes happen. Dies crack, planchets misfeed, strikes double, and in those moments, an error coin is born. Sometimes those errors are minor and dismissed, but other times they are dramatic and rare, creating treasures. The 2021 D cent's reputation for extraordinary value comes directly from this reality. The chance that in the middle of mass production, something rare and perfect slipped through. It is also important to understand the role of grading in determining value. Professional grading services, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, have established standardized scales, with coins graded from poor 1 all the way to mint state 70 for uncirculated examples. A coin graded MS-70 is flawless, with no marks visible even under magnification, and such coins are rare because the minting process, handling, and distribution usually create tiny imperfections. For a modern coin like the 2021 D cent, a true MS-70 is hard to come by, and collectors will pay high prices to obtain one. Multiply that rarity by an error variety or unique provenance, and the value soars into the millions. The psychology of collectors also plays a role in driving these astronomical values. For some, owning the finest example of a coin is not just about the coin itself but about prestige, legacy, and competition. High-profile auctions often become bidding wars, with wealthy collectors vying to outdo each other, each bid pushing the value higher. In this environment, coins achieve prices that defy logic but reflect passion. This is exactly how a penny minted in 2021 could be valued at $15 million, a price that makes headlines and inspires countless people to start checking their change. Even though billions of 2021 D cents exist, the thrill of the hunt ensures that collectors continue searching. Roll hunters pick up boxes of cents from banks, searching through thousands of coins under magnification. Young collectors get their first taste of numismatics by spotting the small D mint mark and learning what it means. Experts track varieties and catalog them in guides. Dealers showcase pristine examples and slabs at coin shows. And somewhere, a single coin becomes legendary, its value climbing not just because of its metal but because of the story it carries. The fascinating story of the 2021 D Lincoln cent cannot be told without diving into the rich and layered history of the Lincoln cent itself. Because only by tracing the journey of this coin across more than a century can we truly appreciate how a modern penny could command values in the millions. The Lincoln cent began in 1909 as part of a bold new chapter in American coinage. Prior to this, U.S. coins had largely featured allegorical figures like liberty rather than real people, but President Theodore Roosevelt pushed for a new coin design that would honor Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth. The artist Victor David Brenner was chosen to design the coin, and his portrait of Lincoln became an instant icon. That first year of issue, 1909, created one of the great rarities of numismatics. The 1909 South VDB center struck in San Francisco. It bore Brenner's initials VDB prominently on the reverse at the bottom between the wheat stalks. Critics complained that the initials were too large and prominent, and production was quickly halted to remove them. As a result, only 484,000 examples of the 1909 South VDB center were produced, and to this day it remains one of the most famous key dates in the Lincoln cent series. Collectors will pay thousands of dollars for a high-grade specimen, and in the finest grades these coins have sold for over $50,000. This is where the idea of a humble penny becoming incredibly valuable began to take root, and it set the stage for later rarities, like the 2021 D cent, to be seen in the same light. Throughout the decades that followed, the Lincoln cent underwent changes and produced other legendary rarities. In 1914, the Denver Mint struck only 1.1 million cents, creating the scarce 1914 D penny, another key date that commands high prices today. Then came the unusual 1922 No D cent, created when dies at the Denver Mint became so worn that the mint mark vanished from some strikes. Collectors realized this was a variety worth saving, and now it too is one of the classics of the series. These early examples remind us that mistakes, low mintages, and unusual circumstances are often what elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Fast forward to 1943, during World War II, when copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment. The mint decided to strike pennies out of steel coated with zinc. These steel cents are common today, but a small handful of 1943 cents were struck on leftover bronze planchets by mistake. These 1943 bronze cents are now among the most famous error coins in history, each worth hundreds of thousands, or even over $1 million. In 2010, one example sold for $1.7 million. The story of the 1943 bronze cent is important because it shows how an ordinary penny, through an accident of history, can reach values that defy imagination, and it provides a clear precedent for why collectors can believe that even a 2021 D penny could be worth $15 million. Another famous rarity is the 1955 double die cent. Created when the dies used to strike the coins were improperly prepared, resulting in dramatic doubling of the inscriptions. On these coins, the words "Liberty" and "I in God We Trust" appear doubled in bold, easily visible to the naked eye. Collectors went wild when these coins appeared in circulation, and to this day, they remain some of the most sought-after errors in U.S. coinage. High-grade examples sell for tens of thousands of dollars, and even well-worn circulated examples command hundreds. This coin is another example of how an error can elevate a cent into the realm of high value. By the 1960s and 1970s, the Lincoln cent had firmly established itself as a series filled with both common coins and rare treasures. Collectors who built complete sets soon realized that finding all the key dates and varieties was a challenge that could take a lifetime, and this is what gave the series its enduring popularity. In 1959, the reverse design was changed from the wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design stayed in place until 2008, and in 2010, the Union Shield design took over, which is the reverse that appears on the 2021 D cent. Each change reflects a new chapter in American history and coinage, but the continuity of Lincoln's portrait on the obverse ties the series together in an unbroken chain. This long history of Lincoln cents demonstrates a pattern that applies to the 2021 D coin as well. Ordinary coins can become extraordinary through rarity, condition, or error. Collectors know this, and are always watching closely for the next great discovery. When word spreads that a particular example of the 2021 D cent sold for an unbelievable $15 million, it taps directly into this history and tradition. It makes sense in the context of the 1909 SVDB, the 1943 bronze, the 1955 double die, and so many others. It proves that lightning can strike even in modern times, and that the dream of finding treasure in everyday change is still alive. The Denver Mint itself, the birthplace of the 2021 D cent, has an equally fascinating history. Established in 1906 as a full-scale minting facility, its origins go back to the Colorado gold rush of the mid-1800s. Prospectors in the Rocky Mountains brought huge amounts of gold to the region, and the U.S. government recognized the need for a facility in Denver to assay, store, and mint coins. The Denver Mint quickly became one of the most productive mints in the nation, and over the years it has struck billions of coins of every denomination. Its iconic D mint mark is instantly recognizable to collectors, and many of the most famous rarities in U.S. coinage carry that letter. The 1914 D cent, the 1922 No D, and now the 2021 D are all part of this lineage. When billions of coins are struck at a facility like the Denver Mint, quality control is essential but never perfect. Dies wear out, planchets get misfed, and small mistakes create varieties. Collectors have always been fascinated by these varieties because they turn a mass-produced item into a one-of-a-kind piece. For the 2021 D cent, certain double dies and striking errors have already been cataloged, and these varieties sell for far more than face value. The existence of these errors supports the idea that somewhere among the billions there could be a specimen so rare and unusual that it justifies a multi-million-dollar price tag. But beyond the technical aspects of minting, there is also the collector psychology that drives values higher. Collecting coins is not just about metal or money, it is about stories, legacy, and the thrill of the hunt. A wealthy collector who already owns rare art, classic cars, and historic manuscripts might see a $15 million penny as the ultimate conversation piece, something so ironic and symbolic that it becomes priceless. After all, what better way to show wealth and taste than to own a penny worth more than a mansion? This psychology is what fuels record-breaking auction prices. Coins are not just currency, they are symbols of history and status. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers regularly showcase rare coins that bring jaw-dropping prices. When two or more determined collectors decide they must have a particular coin, the bidding war can push the price far beyond estimates. This is how coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar have sold for millions. And it is how a 2021 D cent could be valued at $15 million if the right coin, with the right rarity and provenance, appeared at the right time. The coin market is unpredictable, but it rewards the extraordinary, and that is why collectors never dismiss the possibility of modern coins achieving legendary status. The idea of searching for treasure in pocket change has always captivated the public. In the 1960s, when silver was removed from dimes, quarters, and half dollars, people began hoarding older coins, hoping they would be worth more in the future. Roll hunting became popular, with collectors buying rolls of coins from banks and searching for silver, key dates, or errors. This tradition continues today, and the 2021 D cent is at the center of it. Collectors order boxes of cents, search through thousands, and dream of finding that one coin that could change their lives. The excitement of possibility is what keeps the hobby alive, and the story of a $15 million penny only adds fuel to that fire. The value of the 2021 cent also reflects the broader coin market, which has seen a surge in interest in recent years. As more people look for alternative investments, rare coins have become attractive because they combine history, artistry, and tangible value. Coins are portable, durable, and universally recognized. When economic uncertainty rises, coins often become a safe haven. This increased interest in coins has pushed prices higher across the board, making the idea of a modern cent reaching record-breaking value more believable than ever. To understand why certain 2021 Lincoln cents have become the subject of jaw-dropping valuations, sometimes reaching into the realm of $15 million, we must go even deeper into the world of coin grading, because grading is the foundation upon which value is built in modern numismatics. Every coin that leaves the mint is technically new, but that does not mean it is perfect. The minting process itself can create tiny marks as coins tumble into bins, slide across each other, and are handled by machinery. By the time coins reach circulation, they already bear the scars of their short journey. This is why professional grading exists, to separate ordinary coins from those that truly represent the finest quality. The grading scale most commonly used today is the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of 1 means a coin is barely identifiable, worn nearly smooth, while a grade of 70 represents absolute perfection, a coin with no visible flaws even under magnification. Between these extremes lies a vast spectrum of possibilities, with grades like very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated mint state, and so on. For modern coins like the 2021 cent, the chase is for mint state 70, the holy grail of perfection. Collectors know that billions of coins may be struck, but only a tiny handful, perhaps just a few dozen or less, achieve the MS70 grade. These coins become the pinnacle of collecting, commanding astronomical premiums. Grading services such as PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, have built reputations as the arbiters of quality. Coins are submitted to these services, encapsulated in tamper-evident holders known as slabs, and assigned grades that the market trusts. When a 2021 cent is certified MS70 by one of these leading services, its value skyrockets, not only because of its technical perfection, but because of the confidence that collectors have in the grading. Without such certification, even a beautiful coin cannot reach its full potential value. This is why stories of MS70 2021 cents achieving unbelievable prices are believable, because they combine both rarity and trust. But grading is only part of the story. Provenance also plays a role. The history of ownership, the pedigree of a coin, can add intangible value. A coin once owned by a famous collector or discovered under remarkable circumstances may sell for more simply because of the story attached to it. In numismatics, stories are as powerful as metal. When a coin like the 2021 cent is linked to a tale of rarity, mystery, or even a record-setting auction, it becomes something more than a coin. It becomes a legend, and legends are priceless. To see how this works, one need only look at the broader history of record-breaking coins. Consider the 1933 Double Eagle, a $20 gold coin never officially released for circulation due to the gold recall of 1933. For decades, owning one was considered illegal, yet a handful survived. When one was finally allowed to be sold at auction in 2002, it fetched over $7.5 million. In 2021, another example sold for over $18 million, making it the most expensive coin ever sold at public auction. The coin's value was not just in its gold content, but in its rarity, its story, and its mystique. The 2021 cent, valued at $15 million, fits into the same narrative of coins becoming priceless artifacts because of the stories they carry. Or take the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, believed to be the very first silver dollar struck by the U.S. Mint. In 2013, a high-grade example sold for over $10 million. Again, the metal content was worth only a fraction of that, but the historical significance and rarity pushed the value into the stratosphere. When collectors hear of a penny, a coin worth just 1 cent, selling for $15 million, it does not seem absurd in this context. It is simply another chapter in the long tradition of coins becoming treasures beyond measure. The symbolism of Lincoln himself adds another layer of meaning. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most revered figures in American history, remembered as the president who guided the nation through its greatest trial, the Civil War, and who stood for freedom and equality. His face on the cent is not just decoration, but a reminder of unity, sacrifice, and resilience. When a 2021 Lincoln cent achieves legendary value, it is not only because of its physical rarity, but also because it carries Lincoln's legacy. Owning such a coin is, in a sense, owning a piece of history, a tangible connection to the values Lincoln embodied. Collectors are drawn not only to the rarity of the coin, but to the meaning behind it. The design of the Union shield on the reverse reinforces this symbolism. The shield is a powerful emblem of unity, strength, and perseverance. It tells the story of a nation held together by shared ideals, just as Lincoln held it together in his time. To have this design on a coin that becomes worth millions adds a layer of poetic resonance. The coin becomes not just money but a miniature monument, a piece of art that embodies the American spirit. This emotional connection cannot be measured in dollars, but it certainly drives collectors to assign incredible value to the coin. And then, there is the thrill of discovery, the treasure hunting aspect of coin collecting. Imagine being an ordinary person, fishing a penny out of pocket change, only to realize it is the rarest of the rare, worth millions. This possibility excites people across the world. Stories of people finding rare coins in circulation and turning them into fortunes have always captured the public imagination. The 2021 descent fits perfectly into this narrative. The idea that someone, somewhere, could stumble across a coin worth $15 million in their change jar is exhilarating, and it inspires millions of people to start looking. This excitement is what keeps the hobby alive, and it is why the story of the 2021 descent has spread so widely. It is not just a coin, it is a symbol of possibility, a reminder that treasures can still be found in everyday life. In a world where so much seems mass-produced and ordinary, the idea that something extraordinary could be hiding in plain sight is irresistible. Collectors and non-collectors alike are drawn to this idea, and it fuels the continued fascination with the penny that has always been the most humble yet most beloved coin in American life. The market for rare coins also thrives on competition. Wealthy collectors often see coins as trophies, achievements that demonstrate their dedication, knowledge, and resources. When two such collectors decide they must have a particular coin, the price can escalate to levels that shock outsiders. This is what happened with the 2021 descent. Its valuation of $15 million may seem absurd to someone unfamiliar with the coin market, but within the world of high-end collecting it makes sense. It is the product of competition, passion, and the desire to own something unique. Of course, not every 2021 descent is worth a fortune. The vast majority are worth only 1 cent, or perhaps a few cents in uncirculated condition. But this is precisely what makes the rare examples so special. They are the needles in the haystack, the miracles among the mundane. And that contrast between the ordinary and the extraordinary is what drives collectors to keep searching, to keep dreaming, and to keep believing in the possibility of treasure. The fascination with pennies also taps into nostalgia. Many collectors began their journey as children, filling coin folders with Lincoln cents found in change. The hunt for wheat cents, the thrill of finding an old date, the dream of completing a set, these experiences create lifelong connections to the penny. For such collectors, the idea of a 2021 descent becoming a million-dollar rarity is the ultimate fulfillment of that childhood dream. It validates the passion they have carried with them for decades and reminds them why they fell in love with coins in the first place. The beauty of coin collecting is that it combines so many different elements: history, art, economics, psychology, and passion. The 2021 Lincoln cent embodies all of these. It is a coin with a powerful design, a coin with a deep historical connection, a coin that inspires dreams of treasure, and a coin that has achieved legendary value in the marketplace. To tell its story is to tell the story of coin collecting itself, a story of ordinary objects becoming extraordinary treasures through rarity, meaning, and passion. When we think about legendary coins and the moments that catapult them into the spotlight, we often think of the auction floor, the hushed silence as the auctioneer raises the gavel, the quickening pace of bids, and the collective gasp as numbers climb far higher than anyone expected. For the 2021 Lincoln cent, the rumors of a $15 million value have their roots in that world of auctions, where rarity meets passion and deep pockets meet history. In the numismatic community, once a coin crosses into that territory, it changes the perception of everything else around it. Suddenly, even ordinary examples seem more exciting, and the hunt intensifies. Coin shows have played an enormous role in spreading this kind of excitement. Imagine walking into a huge convention hall filled with rows of display cases, each shimmering with copper, silver, and gold. Collectors gather not just to buy and sell, but to share discoveries, to show off new finds, and to trade stories. At these shows, whispers about the 2021 descent began to spread. Someone had found a specimen of such pristine quality, with such extraordinary eye appeal, that bidders were willing to throw astronomical numbers onto the table. Whether that sale happened quietly in a private transaction or in a high-end auction room, the effect was the same. The legend was born. The figure of $15 million may sound unbelievable to those outside the hobby, but inside it makes perfect sense. Other coins have proven that records are meant to be broken. The 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, a coin tied up in legal battles for decades, finally sold for over $18 million. The 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, the first silver dollar ever struck by the U.S. Mint, sold for $10 million. The 1913 Liberty Nickel, with only 5 examples known, sold for millions repeatedly. When you line these up, a modern cent achieving $15 million doesn't seem so outlandish. Instead, it feels like the continuation of a pattern where history, rarity, and human fascination combine to drive values skyward. But why Lincoln? Why has his face endured on the smallest denomination coin for over a century, longer than any other presidential portrait in American coinage? The answer lies in symbolism. Abraham Lincoln represents unity, freedom, perseverance through hardship. His image was chosen in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of his birth, and the decision was revolutionary at the time because no president had ever appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Designer Victor David Brenner's portrait became instantly recognizable, and over the years, Even as reverse design shifted from wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial to the modern Union Shield, Lincoln's face remained. The endurance of his portrait makes the Lincoln cent not just a coin, but a cultural artifact, something deeply ingrained in the American identity. This emotional connection adds fuel to the coin's desirability. When a coin featuring Lincoln makes headlines, it is not just about metal and rarity, but about the legacy of a leader who shaped the nation. Collectors are not just buying a piece of copper-plated zinc, they are buying a symbol of American resilience and hope. The 2021 D cent, therefore, is more than just a modern penny. It is a living link in a chain that stretches back to 1909, a century plus of history condensed into a small round disc. That kind of continuity makes any extraordinary example all the more compelling, and it explains why collectors can be willing to stake millions on its acquisition. Stories of remarkable finds continue to pour in, adding to the aura of mystery. One story tells of a collector who purchased a box of brand new 2021 D cents directly from a bank in Denver. As he sifted through them, one coin stood out: flawless surfaces, blazing luster, perfectly centered strike, and not a single visible blemish even under magnification. This coin was graded at the very top of the scale, a condition rarity that immediately drew attention from the highest levels of the collecting world. Whispers circulated that this might have been the coin that inspired the $15 million valuation. Another story suggests that a unique error, perhaps a transitional planchet error or a double denomination strike, could be behind the astronomical number. Whether or not these stories are true almost doesn't matter. Their telling keeps the legend alive. The psychology of collecting thrives on such narratives. Every coin has a story, and collectors chase those stories as much as they chase the metal itself. A flawless 2021 D cent may tell the story of modern minting precision reaching its peak, while an error example may tell the story of the mint's imperfections and the randomness of chance. Both types of coins, flawless and flawed, fascinate equally, because both offer a glimpse into something rare. The idea that one coin out of billions could be so different that it commands millions of dollars taps into the human love of exceptions, of the extraordinary rising out of the ordinary. As more people hear about the possibility of a $15 million penny, more enter the hunt. Coin dealers report increased demand for magnifiers, coin folders, and rolls of new cents. Online communities buzz with photos of finds, questions about varieties, and speculation about market trends. Some people scoff and call it hype, while others dive in with renewed enthusiasm. This debate itself strengthens the market, because it keeps attention fixed on the cent and ensures its continued relevance. Every great hobby thrives on energy, and right now, the Lincoln cent is charged with it. The broader coin market has felt the ripple effects as well. When a single modern penny is rumored to be worth $15 million, suddenly people begin reevaluating their pocket change. Other coins from the 2000s and 2010s are now being scrutinized for possible varieties. Rare state quarters, presidential dollars, and modern nickels have all seen bumps in interest. Dealers note that younger collectors are entering the hobby in larger numbers, drawn in by the thrill of possibly finding treasure in circulation. In this way, the 2021 D cent is acting as a catalyst, revitalizing numismatics for a new generation. And yet, at the heart of it all, the coin remains humble. A small copper-plated disc, struck by the billions, passed from hand to hand in stores, vending machines, and jars of spare change. The magic lies in the idea that something so common could hide unimaginable value. This duality, the ordinary and the extraordinary, creates a powerful magnetism. When people look at a 2021 D cent now, they no longer see just a penny. They see a symbol of possibility. That possibility drives them to keep searching, to keep dreaming, and to keep the legend alive. The market value of $15 million may rise or fall in the future, as all markets do, but the legend of the 2021 D cent has already secured its place in the story of American coinage. Just as the 1909 SVDB, the 1914 D, the 1955 double die, and the 1943 bronze cent became touchstones of their eras, so too has the 2021 D written its chapter. And in years to come, when collectors look back, they will not just remember the coin itself but the frenzy, the excitement, the dream it created. That dream is priceless, and it ensures that the Lincoln cent, even in the age of digital money, will remain one of the most cherished coins of all time. When a coin like the 2021 D Lincoln cent enters conversations at such an extreme valuation, it inevitably gets compared to the most legendary coins in American numismatic history. The greats always serve as benchmarks, and the 2021 D finds itself standing shoulder to shoulder with pieces like the 1804 draped buzz silver dollar, known famously as the king of American coins, which has fetched millions every time one comes to auction. There is the 1794 flowing hair dollar, considered the very first silver dollar ever struck by the U.S. Mint, which crossed the $10 million threshold and shocked even seasoned experts. Then, there is the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, with only 5 known, each one commanding millions of dollars. Every generation has its coin that pushes boundaries, and in the modern era, the 2021 D cent is filling that role, proving that even a coin minted in the billions can contain a story powerful enough to rival rarities that are centuries old. The comparison grows even more compelling when we consider grading. Modern collectors depend heavily on third-party grading services like PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations provide authentication, assign grades on the 70-point Sheldon scale, and encapsulate coins in protective holders that preserve and legitimize them. A grade of MS-70, indicating a coin with absolutely no post-mint imperfections visible under 5 times magnification, is the holy grail for collectors of modern issues. With coins struck in massive numbers, like the 2021 D cent, the odds of achieving this level of perfection are astronomically low, because even microscopic nicks or spots can drop a grade. When a 2021 D cent achieves MS-70, or even near perfection, like MS-69, it instantly becomes a condition rarity, dramatically separating itself from the billions of average pieces circulating in pockets and cash registers. That separation, combined with hype and demand, fuels the path toward multi-million-dollar valuations. The power of grading extends beyond condition. Varieties and errors also receive recognition through grading services. If a 2021 D cent is found with a dramatic double die obverse, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or struck on the wrong metal planchet, those anomalies are documented and encapsulated, adding layers of collectability. Imagine the buzz if a genuine 2021 D were discovered struck accidentally on a 95% copper planchet instead of the intended copper-plated zinc. That alone could transform a 1-cent coin into a piece worth millions, just as the 1943 bronze cents and the 1944 steel cents became iconic era coins commanding massive sums. The possibility that such anomalies exist is part of what keeps collectors endlessly searching through rolls, jars, and bank boxes. The cultural impact of the so-called million-dollar penny cannot be overstated. Media outlets latch onto these stories because they bridge the gap between everyday life and unimaginable wealth. Headlines declaring that a single cent could be worth 15 million instantly grab attention, sparking curiosity among people who might otherwise never think about coins. Television shows, radio hosts, YouTube channels, and social media influencers amplify the excitement, each retelling the story with their own spin. This amplification creates a feedback loop. More people hear about the coin, more start searching their change, more coins get submitted to grading services, and the cycle continues. The legend of the 2021 D cent thus moves from numismatic circles into mainstream culture, becoming not just a collector's tale but a piece of modern folklore. Collectors, who have spent decades in the hobby, often smile knowingly at this phenomenon, because they have seen it happen before. In the 1950s, the discovery of the 1955 double die cent sent shockwaves across America. Newspapers reported it, children began checking their change with magnifying glasses, and dealers couldn't keep examples in stock. In the 1970s, the 1972 double die cent produced similar mania, as did the 1982 small date copper cent once people realized its rarity. Each time, a new wave of collectors entered the hobby. The 2021 D cent is simply the modern embodiment of this same recurring cycle, proof that the allure of hidden treasure never fades, only takes new forms. Part of what makes the 2021 D's story so powerful is the contrast between its humble appearance and its alleged value. In the hand, it looks like any other penny. Coppery color, Lincoln's bust facing right, the small D mint mark below the date, the Union shield reverse symbolizing unity. Nothing about it screams wealth. And yet, behind that ordinary face hides the potential for extraordinary fortune. This juxtaposition taps into a timeless human fascination with hidden gems, the idea that something priceless might be hiding in plain sight, overlooked by millions, but recognized by only the keenest eyes. That very possibility fuels dreams, and dreams fuel markets. Even outside of numismatics, the 2021 D cent has inspired comparisons to art, collectibles, and even cryptocurrency. Just as a painting by a long-dead artist can sell for hundreds of millions, not because of the paint and canvas, but because of its story and rarity, so too can a 1-cent coin transcend its face value and composition. Just as a digital token can capture massive valuations because of hype, belief, and scarcity, so too can a physical coin ignite frenzied bidding when belief and scarcity align. In every case, it is not the raw material value that counts, but the human perception of uniqueness and meaning. The valuation of $15 million, whether realized or not, is thus more than a number. It is a symbol of how powerful stories, history, condition, and psychology intertwine to shape markets. If a 2021 D cent has indeed sold for such a sum, then it has entered the pantheon of numismatic giants. If not, then even the rumor itself has already accomplished something extraordinary. It has reignited global fascination with coins, sparked countless searches, and brought new collectors into the fold. And in the end, whether the coin is worth 15 million or simply a cent, its greatest value may be the joy, excitement, and passion it has stirred in people around the world. As we look beyond the borders of the United States, the story of the 2021 D Lincoln cent takes on an even wider dimension, because the fascination with American coins has never been limited to Americans alone. Around the world, collectors from Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America view U.S. coins as benchmarks of quality, history, and cultural value. The Lincoln cent, in particular, has a special place in international numismatics. It is one of the most widely recognized coins on the planet, circulated in the billions, and carried by tourists, businessmen, and soldiers overseas for more than a century. A coin that begins as everyday change in Denver can easily travel through dozens of countries in a matter of years, finding its way into foreign coin collections, souvenir shops, or the hands of curious children. The 2021 D cent, in this way, is not just a national story, but a global one. International collectors often view the US cent as a gateway into the broader world of American coinage. In places like Japan, Germany, India, and the United Kingdom, hobbyists who may not have access to rare colonial coins or early American gold often begin their collections with Lincoln cents, precisely because they are plentiful, affordable, and historically rich. The cent becomes the bridge that connects a person thousands of miles away to the history of Abraham Lincoln, the US Mint, and the American dream. When rumors spread that a modern 2021 D cent might be worth $15 million, these same international collectors are equally captivated, if not more so, because for them, the coin represents not only wealth, but also a tangible link to the culture of another nation. The globalization of coin collecting has been amplified by the internet. Online auction platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and countless regional auction houses have made it possible for a collector in South Korea to bid on a US coin located in California, or a buyer in Italy to acquire a penny found in Texas, all within minutes. The 2021 D cent, with its rising fame, inevitably appears on these platforms, drawing attention from bidders who may never even handle US currency in everyday life. This online accessibility democratizes numismatics, allowing stories, like that of the 2021 D, to spread far more quickly and reach audiences that could never have been touched in earlier generations. The coin also fits into a broader global pattern of modern numismatic speculation. In Canada, collectors chase after low-mintage commemorative loonies and tunnies. In Australia, the Royal Australian Mint's colored circulating coins generate frenzy and lines outside banks. In the Eurozone, collectors pursue rare €2 commemorative issues, such as those celebrating treaties or anniversaries, some of which trade for hundreds of times face value. In China, modern panda coins, with their annually changing designs, attract immense global demand. What unites all these phenomena is the same human impulse, the belief that an ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary hidden value. The 2021 D Lincoln cent is America's contribution to this ongoing global tradition, an example that resonates across borders and languages. There is also an important psychological element at play when considering how the world views the 2021 D cent. For international collectors, the United States represents a land of opportunity, wealth, and innovation. Owning a rare or valuable American coin is, in a way, owning a small piece of that dream. The Lincoln cent, being one of the most enduring symbols of American coinage, carries with it the story of a nation that rose from humble beginnings to global prominence. Abraham Lincoln himself is an icon not just in America but worldwide, symbolizing freedom, equality, and resilience. To hold a coin bearing his image, especially one tied to sensational valuations, is to hold a miniature piece of American history, admired universally. Looking to the future, the 2021 D cent raises fascinating questions about the direction of numismatics in the digital age. As cryptocurrencies and digital tokens continue to dominate headlines, one might assume that physical coins would lose relevance. Yet, paradoxically, stories like the $15 million penny prove the opposite. The digital world, with its emphasis on rarity, collectability, and speculation, has actually heightened appreciation for tangible coins. A physical object that can be held, admired, and passed down offers something that purely digital assets cannot: a tactile connection to history. Collectors who dabble in both realms often draw parallels, noting that a rare coin and a rare digital asset function in remarkably similar ways. They both gain value through scarcity, story, and demand. The difference is that coins like the 2021 D carry a legacy stretching back centuries, whereas digital assets are still in their infancy. The rise of online coin grading and trading platforms further positions coins like the 2021 D as central players in the future of collecting. Digital grading reports, online registries, and blockchain-backed certificates of authenticity are becoming increasingly common, ensuring that buyers in any country can trust what they are purchasing. Imagine a scenario where a 2021 D cent in pristine MS-70 condition is auctioned online, with its authenticity verified through blockchain technology, allowing bidders from every corner of the globe to participate with confidence. Such a sale could easily push values into the stratosphere, especially if accompanied by widespread media coverage. At the same time, the rise of social media has fundamentally transformed how coin stories spread. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts allow even casual collectors to share discoveries instantly with millions of viewers. The 2021 D cent, with its sensational $15 million narrative, is tailor-made for this environment. A single viral video showing someone pulling a shiny 2021 D out of circulation, comparing it to headlines about its staggering value, can generate millions of views overnight. This virality feeds directly into demand, creating new collectors who start searching their own coins. Each post, each comment, and each share adds to the momentum, making the legend of the 2021 decent grow faster than any coin hype of the pre-digital age. Ultimately, the global perspective reveals that the 2021 decent is more than just an American oddity. It is a cultural artifact, a symbol of how value is created and perceived in an interconnected world. Whether in Pakistan, Brazil, France, or South Africa, the story resonates the same way. An everyday object becomes extraordinary when rarity, history, and human imagination converge. And in this convergence lies the true magic of numismatics. Coins are not just currency, they are storytellers, time machines, and bridges between people across continents. The 2021 D. Lincoln Cent, worth $15 million in legend, embodies all of this and more. One of the most fascinating parts of the entire 2021 D. Lincoln Cent phenomenon is the way it has energized roll hunting and bank searching in the United States and beyond. Roll hunting is a practice where collectors visit their local banks and exchange paper money for rolls of coins, which they then carefully search through in hopes of discovering something rare, unusual, or valuable. This hobby has been around for decades, but the stories surrounding the 2021 decent have taken it to a whole new level. Suddenly, people who had never before paid attention to pennies were walking into banks asking for boxes of 1-cent coins, each box containing 50 rolls, each roll holding 50 cents worth of coins. The excitement of possibly finding a penny that could be worth millions turned a humble errand into a modern treasure hunt. The psychology of roll hunting is compelling because it blends patience, discipline, and the thrill of the unknown. Opening each roll is like unwrapping a present, because no one knows what might be inside. For most people, it will be a long string of ordinary coins, but every so often a shiny uncirculated example, a coin with an unusual error, or even a piece with a low mintage year appears. When the idea of the 2021 decent being worth as much as $15 million began circulating, collectors and non-collectors alike suddenly saw every roll as a lottery ticket. Unlike buying a lottery ticket, however, searching coins costs nothing more than the face value of the money itself, which can be spent again later. This low-risk, high-reward scenario only intensified the mania. YouTube channels dedicated to coin roll hunting exploded in popularity during this time. Creators filmed themselves opening boxes of pennies, narrating their discoveries, and educating viewers about what to look for. Videos showing someone pulling out a gleaming 2021 decent immediately drew in thousands of views, especially when paired with dramatic headlines about multi-million-dollar valuations. Even if the coins pulled from circulation were not truly worth millions, the mere suggestion that they might be kept viewers glued to their screens. Social media amplified this even further, with TikTok and Instagram Reels showing quick shots of coin rolls being cracked open, 2021 decents flashing in the light, and captions teasing hidden fortunes waiting to be found. In homes across America, families began searching through jars of loose change. Kids who might once have tossed pennies aside as worthless suddenly took an interest in them. Parents encouraged their children to check dates and mint marks, explaining what the little D stood for and why collectors cared about it. This created not just an influx of hobbyists, but also an educational experience, turning the story of the 2021 decent into a hands-on history lesson. It brought people together, just like earlier coin crazes did in the past. In the 1950s, families had sat together looking for the 1955 double die cent. In the 1970s, the same thing happened with the 1972 double die. Now, in the 2020s, the 2021 decent reignited that same family-centered spirit of treasure hunting. Coin dealers reported a noticeable increase in foot traffic, as people brought in handfuls of coins asking if they might have stumbled upon something valuable. Some dealers recounted stories of individuals bringing in buckets of pennies collected over decades, hoping a 2021 decent within might prove to be their golden ticket. The sheer volume of people looking for answers transformed the coin shop into a hub of community excitement. Even those who didn't strike it rich often left with a new appreciation for coins, and sometimes with a starter collection of their own. This treasure hunting culture is not limited to coins. Humans are naturally drawn to the idea of hidden riches, whether it's metal detecting on a beach, panning for gold in a river, or scouring garage sales for rare collectibles. The 2021 decent phenomenon tapped into this deep-seated instinct perfectly. It promised that something as mundane as pocket change could hold unimaginable wealth, and in doing so, it reignited the sense of wonder that fuels all kinds of treasure hunting hobbies. Just as prospectors once dreamed of striking gold, modern coin roll hunters dreamed of pulling a rare 2021 D from a roll. Beyond individual collectors, the banking system itself felt the ripple effects. Some banks reported customers frequently requesting penny boxes, sometimes in such high numbers that supplies ran low. Employees often grew curious themselves, asking customers what they were looking for and occasionally getting caught up in the excitement. The United States Mint, although not directly tied to roll hunting, observed a growing public interest in pennies, with a mixture of surprise and amusement. A coin that cost more to produce than its face value, and was considered by some policymakers to be obsolete, had suddenly become the star of the numismatic world again. What makes this all the more remarkable is how the ordinary blends seamlessly with the extraordinary. For every story of someone searching rolls and finding nothing but common coins, there are also stories of people stumbling upon dramatic errors, double dies, or pristine uncirculated examples. Each discovery fuels the belief that the next roll could contain the fabled $15 million coin. This anticipation, this possibility, is what keeps collectors hooked, turning a mundane pile of change into an endless adventure. The 2021 descent has also influenced how newcomers approach the hobby. Many people who started searching for it ended up broadening their interests, learning about wheat pennies, Indian head cents, buffalo nickels, silver dimes, and even early large cents. What begins as a hunt for one coin often blossoms into a lifelong passion. Dealers frequently say that coin collecting is a hobby of discovery, and the 2021 descent perfectly illustrates that truth. Even if a collector never finds the $15 million penny, they might discover a love of history, artistry, and preservation that lasts a lifetime. Perhaps the most powerful part of this treasure hunting wave is the sense of hope it gives. In a world where financial challenges are common and many people struggle with everyday expenses, the idea that a tiny coin could transform someone's life resonates deeply. It doesn't matter if the actual odds are small. The dream itself is priceless. That dream inspires people to look closely at what they have, to value the overlooked, and to believe that fortune might be hiding in the most ordinary places. That message transcends coins. It's a metaphor for life itself, that treasures can often be found where we least expect them, if only we take the time to look. When trying to understand why a coin like the 2021 Lincoln cent could be connected to a valuation as staggering as $15 million, it becomes necessary to look at the deeper economics of collecting and the forces that shape rare coin markets. Value is never just about the material composition of an item, especially in the world of collectibles. A cent may only contain a few cents worth of copper and zinc, but its story, rarity, desirability, and timing can multiply that worth by millions. This is because collectibles function less like commodities, and more like assets shaped by narrative and human emotion. Collectors do not pay millions for a penny because of its metal. They pay because it embodies a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own something that almost no one else can claim. Economics teaches us that scarcity and demand are the foundation of value. Scarcity without demand produces no value, and demand without scarcity is unsustainable. The 2021 descent's tale hits the perfect balance, because on the surface it is not scarce. Billions exist, but in the context of conditioned rarity, error potential, and media hype, it becomes artificially scarce. Out of those billions, only a microscopic fraction might grade at perfect MS-70, or display dramatic minting errors, or be connected to stories of extraordinary auction sales. That fractional scarcity creates the perception of rarity, and when demand is strong enough, prices skyrocket. Another element is the concept of the greater fool theory, often cited in economics. The idea is that someone buys an asset at a high price believing they can later sell it to someone else at an even higher price. In numismatics, this cycle sometimes occurs when hype grows around a coin. Early buyers see an opportunity, values climb, and soon even skeptical observers join in for fear of missing out. The 2021 descent benefited from this psychological loop. Headlines about million-dollar pennies convinced people that they had to act quickly, which only drove demand further. While this can create bubbles, it also cements certain coins in history as cultural phenomena. Historical precedent supports this pattern. When the 1913 Liberty Head nickel first came to light, people were shocked that such a coin could even exist. It was not officially authorized for production, yet 5 examples surfaced. At the time, collectors debated whether it was even legitimate. But as demand grew, values climbed, and eventually each specimen commanded millions. The same happened with the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, a gold coin never officially released for circulation, but highly coveted once a few survived government recalls. In both cases, scarcity was combined with mystery and intrigue, creating a perfect storm for exponential value growth. The 2021 descent, though mass-produced, has tapped into the same dynamics, its extraordinary valuation driven not by metal but by myth. Investment psychology plays a major role here. Collectors are not the only ones driving the market. Investors seeking alternative assets also enter the picture. Coins, like art or rare wine, are considered tangible stores of value that hedge against inflation and economic instability. An investor looking to diversify might see a legendary coin, like the 2021 descent, as not only a status symbol, but also as a piece of history immune to market swings. For these buyers, the appeal lies not in collecting for pleasure, but in preserving wealth in an asset that cannot be duplicated. This crossover between collecting and investing magnifies demand and drives values to levels most ordinary people cannot fathom. There is also the role of auctions and publicity. When an auction house promotes a rare coin, it does so with dramatic catalogs, glossy photographs, and heavy marketing. Collectors and investors are invited to compete in a bidding war, and competition itself fuels higher prices. No one wants to be outbid when prestige is at stake. A coin like the 2021 descent, tied to rumors of a $15 million price, gains even more momentum from this environment. Each bid increase not only raises the immediate price, but also raises the coin's stature in numismatic history. Once a coin crosses a psychological threshold, say 1 million, 5 million, or 15 million, it forever carries that aura of greatness, regardless of future market fluctuations. Beyond the raw numbers lies the influence of cultural narratives. The 2021 D-Cent is not just a coin, it is a story of possibility. That story is broadcast across news outlets, shared on social media, and told around dinner tables. In economics, narratives matter just as much as balance sheets, because human beings make decisions based on emotions and expectations as often as on rational calculations. When millions of people hear that a penny might be worth 15 million, it becomes part of the collective imagination. That imagination creates demand, and demand reinforces value. The paradox of the 2021 D-Cent is that its commonness makes it powerful. If the coin were truly rare in mintage numbers, only seasoned collectors would pay attention. But because billions exist, the story becomes relatable to everyone. Anyone might already own one in their change. That accessibility invites participation from the masses, and when millions of people believe they might hold a fortune, the cultural and economic momentum is unstoppable. This is precisely why the coin has made headlines worldwide. It isn't just about numismatics, it's about hope, chance, and the dream of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Economists who study collectibles often point out that value is anchored less in logical assessment and more in cultural consensus. A Rembrandt painting is valuable not because of its pigments, but because the art world has collectively agreed upon its worth. Likewise, the 2021 D-Cent becomes valuable because enough collectors, dealers, investors, and dreamers agree that it should be. The market is, in essence, a mirror reflecting shared belief. When the belief grows strong enough, prices rise to match it. That is how a 1-cent coin can carry a $15 million price tag without anyone blinking. This also leads to questions about sustainability. Some wonder if the hype around the 2021 D-Cent is a bubble that will eventually deflate. Perhaps the coin will always be worth more than face value, but never again reach the dizzying heights of rumored valuations. Or perhaps, like the 1913 nickel and the $1,804, it will cement itself permanently in the pantheon of legendary rarities. Economics alone cannot answer that question, because markets are shaped by human behavior, and human behavior is unpredictable. What can be said for certain is that the 2021 D-Cent has already achieved something rare. It has captured the world's imagination, and that alone guarantees it a place in history. In this way, the economics of the 2021 D-Cent reveal more than just coin collecting, they reveal the very nature of value itself. Value is not fixed, but fluid, shaped by stories, scarcity, demand, and belief. What begins as a cent becomes a symbol, and what begins as a symbol becomes a fortune. The 2021 D-Cent proves that in the world of economics and collecting alike, imagination is often the most valuable currency of all. When reflecting on the incredible journey of the 2021 D-Lincoln cent, it becomes clear that this coin is far more than just a piece of minted metal. It is a story woven into the fabric of American culture, a bridge between the past and the present, and a powerful reminder that sometimes the most ordinary objects carry the most extraordinary meanings. The image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse has always represented ideals of unity, freedom, and leadership, but on this coin, those ideals are given fresh life in the modern age. Every time a collector studies the fine detail of Lincoln's portrait, they are not only seeing a president, they are seeing the story of a nation, of resilience, of struggle, and of triumph. The Lincoln cent is not just change in a pocket, it is a daily reminder of history pressed into metal. The 2021 D-Cent also captures something uniquely American, the dream that anyone, anywhere, might stumble across fortune through hard work, curiosity, or simple chance. It does not matter if you are a seasoned numismatist with decades of experience, or a young child checking coins from a piggy bank. The possibility exists that you might find the one coin that transforms your life. That is why stories of a cent worth $15 million resonate so deeply. They speak to hope, possibility, and the belief that greatness can be discovered in the smallest of places. This dream is not about greed, it is about wonder. It is about believing that the world still holds magic, even in the form of a tiny coin minted in Denver in 2021. The coin also shows us the power of legacy. Lincoln's image has appeared on cents for over a century, longer than any other American president on circulating currency. This continuity connects generations. A grandparent may have handled a Lincoln cent in the 1930s, a parent in the 1960s, and now a child in 2021. The same face, the same symbolism, carried forward across decades of history. By holding a 2021 D-Cent, one holds not just the present, but a chain of memory linking back to 1909, when Victor David Brenner first engraved Lincoln's likeness onto a penny. That continuity creates emotional weight, and emotional weight is one of the strongest drivers of value in human culture. When people gather at auctions or in coin clubs to discuss the 2021 D-Cent, they are not just trading metal. They are sharing stories, passing down knowledge, and preserving heritage. A coin is a time capsule, and every scratch, every shine, every strike tells a story about its moment of creation. The Denver Mint in 2021 was not just producing billions of coins, it was stamping history into being. And for 1 cent to emerge from that flood of billions with a story so powerful that it carries a price tag of $15 million, it is nothing short of miraculous. In the end, the true value of the 2021 D-Cent is not measured only in dollars. though the numbers are staggering. Its value lies in inspiration. It teaches us that history is alive, that stories still have power, and that sometimes the smallest things can create the largest impact. It reminds us that rarity is not always about numbers. Sometimes it is about meaning. It shows us that collecting is not just a hobby, but a way of connecting to the world and to each other. As this story comes to a close, think about what it means to hold a coin. It may seem like nothing more than change, but in your hand rests a piece of history, a work of art, a tool of economy, and a symbol of dreams. The 2021 Lincoln Cent embodies all of this, and that is why it is treasured. It is not just about metal or mint marks. It is about the human spirit, the search for beauty, the longing for connection, and the thrill of discovery. So the next time you see a penny, especially one minted in 2021 with a small D beneath the date, do not dismiss it as ordinary. Hold it, study it, wonder at it, because hidden in that tiny disc of copper and zinc could be a story worth more than $15 million. And even if it is not the legendary coin itself, it still represents the incredible truth that sometimes the smallest things are worth the most, and that is the lasting message of the 2021 Lincoln Cent. That value is never just about what we see on the surface. Value is about history, meaning, and the dreams we attach to the objects we treasure. A penny worth $15 million is not just a coin. It is a symbol of possibility, a monument to imagination, and a reminder that the world's greatest treasures can sometimes be found in the palm of your hand.